Welcome to the Manufacturing Come Up podcast. We have our first guest here, Jacob Sanchez.
How you doing, everybody?
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get the background of Jacob, where he came from, what his career path looks like. He's still young in his career, but he's had a very interesting adventure, and let's get into it.
I like to call it a little bit of a wild ride. Born and raised in California, and my career really got started when I was in high school. So Titans of CNC Academy is this thing that a lot of people at this show probably know about. It's huge right now for teaching the world about manufacturing, automation, just educating people. And when I was 15, it got started with me and my school, my friends, and my teacher. And there was no website back then. They had 10 pieces of paper, and they said, hey, this worked in San Quentin, was a prison system that they tested it out in, and was like, we want to see if it works for you. So 3 years later, when I was 18, that program was the #1 in California for machine shops for teaching the next generation. And then Titan hired me out of high school. So from that to getting hired out of high school with a full-time job to make aerospace parts, medical parts on Haas machines, and we eventually moved on to DMG, Makino, stuff like that.
Nice.
To after all that, took another big step that I've never done before, and that was when we went into all marketing. I was telling Malachi that I actually had to take this leap into marketing. So my paycheck wasn't going to come from CNC machining anymore. It was going to be, hey, this company is going to pay us X amount of money to make videos and show off these products. Go do it.
Right.
So it was nuts, man. It was so crazy.
Yeah, that was like something that was super interesting, something that I didn't even know. Like, so Titan had went from being a CNC machine shop, traditional machine shop, to going, and now they're like a marketing company, an education company, right? So like that's a huge shift. It's a big deal, and like they have blown up. They're like probably one of the biggest, especially in CNC space, right? Their videos are getting like millions and millions of impressions at this point.
I remember when we were first starting, and it was huge for us on just Facebook when a video hit 3.2 million. I remember my video and his son Tyson's. We had one of the first in our company like videos that hit the 3 to 6 million on Facebook.
Wow.
Nowadays, they're getting 1.1 on YouTube, which is ridiculous for YouTube. Totally different platforms, different metrics.
Especially our industry, too.
Yeah.
Wild.
So that was that. And then once I left, and now I'm an application engineer at Edgewater Automation in St. Joseph, Michigan, I miss creating. Like, I miss educating people and showing people what our trade's really about. Because I don't know about you, but at your company, I hope you try to show people, hey, this isn't your granddad's manufacturing or automation shop.
Yeah.
We don't wear overalls. We're not dirty. We don't cuss all the time. We're not smoking cigarettes at the machines.
Yeah.
Like, it's different now.
Completely changed.
And so that's why I wanted to start creating more content, and that's why I started my little LinkedIn channel.
Right.
And that's kind of what brought us together and what keeps bringing me together with people across our industry.
Yeah, one thing that I really like about you is like, not only are you an engineer, but you also definitely have a passion for like the marketing, the creative side of things.
It's been the biggest feedback, I guess, that I've been getting from people that I make videos for, companies I've been working with, is that they spent X amount of money on a marketing company to come and do this. And they said my 1 to 2 minute video is nothing like what they got. And it's because those people may be able to know how to hold a camera, edit, whatever.
Yeah.
But our people, these people all around here, they know what they want. And when you can tell a story that shows them something that they can use, something they may need, that's how you get them. And you have to have that technological background to tell that story. It's hard to do it when you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do want to kind of shift gears a little bit, and I want to dig like deeper into your past. Like, where did you really start to like find like this type of industry? Evidently CNC was like kind of one of your first things, but I want to know like how young it started. And
so it was actually never in my books. The dad that I grew up with was a carpenter, contractor, built homes. Mom was in healthcare. And then I just have this memory of my dad, once him and my mom divorced and stuff, and I remember him telling me this, because I always wanted to go to work with him. I was like, I want to build a house, I want to do this. And he's like, no, you don't. One day he sat me down, he's like, look, I don't want you to be like me.
Right.
And I was like so crushed. And then and he was like, I want you to use your brain, not your back. I don't want you to have these bones and do this type of up and down work. It's hard construction, man. And I don't know, I've always remembered that. And so I never knew about this stuff. I was actually a little, I won't curse. I was a jerky kid. I was a bad kid at school. I was that C student kid.
Right.
But I actually had to move up to Rockland, so where the school was, Rockland High School. Okay. Because my mom's job, so left family and friends. And I only got put into the engineering class because there wasn't enough room in home ec. And they said, we have to put you in this engineering class. And so, dude, I was a jerk there too. But I didn't like going home sometimes. So I'd ask the teacher, hey, can I just stay in your room and clean your machines? I'll just sweep the floor. And so I would do that. And I eventually started asking him questions about, hey, like, I know you were talking about this the other day. I wasn't paying attention. But what's this lathe do? What's this mill do? And he started teaching me stuff after school. And so I kept staying. And eventually, I'll never forget this. I made these rings on a manual lathe. And I had these lines 50 thou apart, meticulous. Each line, 7 in a row. And then I had a knurling ring that I would play with in class. And people started complimenting me on it. And people thought it was just so incredible that I was 15, 14, and I did this. And I don't know, something clicked in me when that happened. I was like, okay. I was like, this is cool. I was like, not a lot of people do this. I'm gonna get after it. And so all through high school, man, I stayed in that room. I got better. I wasn't a jerk after like junior, senior year. I matured a little bit. Yeah. But before that, I would be in a class and I'd say, hey, I finished this test. I would ask for a bathroom pass, but I don't want to lie to you. I'm going to go to Dan Frank's room and go to manufacturing. And they were just like, okay.
Yeah.
So that's where it started, man. It was just this drive to, I don't know. I have this drive to show people, because people talk about me in the industry. And I don't think of it as a narcissism thing or a bragging thing, but I have people come to me and say, hey, I heard about you from this person, right?
Yeah.
When I hear that, there's something in me that makes me know that I have to be doing the absolute best that I can possibly do, be the best I can be, because people are putting their name on me.
Yeah.
If I was like a little jerk and somebody was like, hey, if you ever meet Jacob Sanchez, go talk to him. He's an awesome guy. And I blew him off or something.
Yeah.
You know how bad it'd make the other person look?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. That's kind of what drives me. That's kind of what made me want to stick with this industry, because there wasn't a lot of young people in it. That doesn't mean that I didn't get put down. There was a lot of times where I just have the nastiest comments from some of the older people.
Oh, yeah.
And
for sure.
It wears on you, dude. Especially in my industry, people like to think or say we're sensitive and all this. I think we all just need to work with each other and talk to each other differently. But it hurt, man. So it was a tough industry to stay in at this age, you know?
Yeah, a couple things. Like one, like you said, like there is a piece of pride, right? Like you can definitely be like prideful and proud of what it is that you're doing and doing for the industry. Like, you know, I had a really proud moment while we were here at this event. Some guy walked up to me. He's like, dude, it's because of you I got into this industry. And I'm like, dude, I just almost felt high. You know what I mean? Like, dude, this is why I do it. Like, that is it. Like, not him just coming up to me, but like seeing the impact of changing the life, right? And then another thing, like you were saying, like people are hard on you. Dude, so I started LinkedIn like 3 years ago, and that's when I really started going hard at it. Dude, there was so many like, get off LinkedIn, this is not for that. Like, dude, like just always, it was like a year straight of just the stuff, right? And like I got a lot on grammar, because I'm not a grammar person. Okay. I don't care if my words are spelled right. I don't care about like if my grammar's not proper. Okay. Luckily, I have Grammarly helping me a little bit now, but even then, I still don't care. I'll still make quick posts and boom, boom, boom. You know, because like in my mind, getting the thought out there, getting the idea and the impression of whatever the thing is, it's not worth taking it to edit, right? It's not losing that because oh no, it has to be edited, it has to be perfect, right? There's a lot of people who could put out a lot of valuable content and they don't because they're worried about it being perfect, right? But yeah, so you get a lot of backlash, especially when you start, because people are intimidated, right? You have some really kind people, and we've like surrounded ourselves with those individuals who are creators in the space. You seem like you're definitely going to be there.
Trying.
Because like, you know, being kind is like, it's the win, right? And there's people out here that are just kind individuals and they'll work with you. You become like a community. And then you have the other individuals that are maybe scared. Maybe they're worried that you're going to disrupt their company or disrupt their name. Because there's some people that have built very big careers based on traditional marketing, traditional roads and avenues to become successful.
Which is usually non-digital.
Which is non-digital, exactly. It's like their newsletters, newspapers, you know, things that are things we don't use now and are also not near as powerful as like social media is these days.
Yeah. So I like that, man. Thanks for sharing that with me. That's rough. I didn't have any bad LinkedIn experience, thankfully, but I can only think of how just like shoulder dropping that would be to get comments or DMs like that. That just sounds rough.
And LinkedIn was a lot rougher a couple of years ago because it was that professional platform. Like if you posted a beach picture, canceled. You know what I mean? People try to cancel you for that stuff. LinkedIn was super strict at one point. Like over the past 3 years, it's so much more laxed. Like it's just wild how much it's changed.
I feel like it's because people are finally realizing that, like, look, your professional life can be this, your personal life can be this, but there's some times where that stuff meshes.
Yeah.
And it's okay for you to share this photo of you doing something that's not you in your work uniform, and still share a message that people can react or relate to.
Yeah, for sure.
In a work setting, you know,
Sure.
like, so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I don't know, do you know Haley from IQ Manufacturing?
Yeah.
She does a lot of that, and I love that.
Yeah,
I was like, this is awesome. This is what we need more of, is showing people that, look, your job's and your life's your life, but they do this sometimes, and it's okay to share those experiences.
Yeah, I'm a normal person outside of work.
It's like, I always related it to people freak out, like when you were in school and you saw your teacher outside of the classroom, and you're like, oh, you exist outside.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just in that room.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'd like to go ahead and dive back in a little bit more into like kind of your career
Sorry for the
path.
sidetrack.
No, yeah, it's a good. That's where the value comes from, really. So like, okay, we kind of went through. You went from Titan, CNC. How did that transition work? Like with where you're at in your career now, and
so there wasn't a lot of transition. So I was a CNC machinist, programmer, setup guy, right?
Yeah.
We did Doosan's, Fanuc robo drills. So there was no direct transition to what I'm doing now, which is application engineering.
Right.
I'm using all this technology here to design a system to hopefully help the sales engineer sell to the customer to make our washers, dryers, cell phones, whatever.
Right.
So it was literally diving into something else. There was no crossover for me. And that's something that I've liked, though. That experience of starting here, and I don't know, I'm the kind of guy where if I see that the learning curve's like this, I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm still technically minded, you know? I still have that mindset of manufacturing. There's been some machine tending applications that'll come into work, and I'm the go-to guy for it now, because we had some robot arms at Titans that I did some videos on, teaching people how to program points and do lights out manufacturing.
Nice.
So I have that experience.
Yeah.
But it's been relatively new, man. I just knew the next step I wanted to make was in the automation space, because I believe that there's still huge growth for our industry in the future.
Oh, absolutely.
And I knew nothing about it, and I couldn't have that. I wanted to get into it.
Nice. So as far as kind of the future of things, kind of where you're seeing yourself go, you mentioned some stuff about launching on YouTube and launching, what was it, on
TikTok.
TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and those are the platforms you have to really believe in what you're going to be posting on. So me, I'm not a big Instagram or Facebook person, so I know I don't want to do content for that. Yeah. But YouTube and Instagram, YouTube will always be around. I don't see it going away. I go there all the time to learn new things. Yeah. And when it comes to TikTok, I believe if we do get a new social media platform, you'll hear about it first from TikTok. So that's why I'm going there, because I know that's also the future. And there's been some people who are like, oh, well, they're stealing information. And my thing is, you know what? My stuff's already probably out there. Yeah. I'm going to do my thing. Yeah. But yeah, so that's going to be a career-centric platform. So I'm going to be sharing with my generation, the younger generations, and even people that may just be out in the industry trying to figure out what they want to do. Tips and tricks that I used when I got started here. I'm also going to do a lot of community engagement, hopefully, where I will be reacting in real time to comments on videos. Like I was telling you, if I want to do this series where you're looking for a job, you're in the Dallas, Texas area, you tell me the position you're looking for, I reach out to the company that you're either looking at or maybe possibly one you didn't see, and I work with them to fly out, film the interview, and do a review on that, and you can literally apply to it the next day. It's out there, it's real. Yeah. And I don't know, I think people need help not getting filtered through
Sure.
those long paragraphs you have to read when you're looking for a job.
Yeah.
People get filtered, and I think they could have been a great fit, but there was just no engagement from company posting to person.
Yeah.
So I want to try to bridge that gap.
Yeah, and there can be like a lot of fears. Like there's a lot of things that say, don't apply if you don't have a 4-year degree, right?
That's another big topic for me is I was put down in high school because I wasn't going to the community college everybody else was going to, and they literally wrote me off. Like I wasn't going to college, so I wasn't worth anything.
Right.
And I'm not against college at all. I went back to start getting my degree in mechatronics. What I'm against is making people feel like they don't have a choice, and that if you don't do this, you'll never be this.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 'cause there's like people I've worked with in my career that have had, no college, 20 years of experience, and are better robot programmers than half the people out here who have like doctorate degrees and whatnot. And college, in my mind, doesn't teach as well as the tools that we have today. You have YouTubes, you have like the Titan CNC platform. Like there's so many learning education platforms that are so niched down to exactly what you need to learn that a lot of college stuff has just so much fluff that is not as valuable.
I don't know if we have time for this, but if we don't, tell me. But I just want to throw this out to you. Do you see a way that Americans are doing our apprenticeship programs wrong when it comes to bringing in young kids and stuff into our workplaces? Because when I think American apprenticeship program, I think of people that bring a kid in to sweep the floor for 2 years, dump garbage and do all this, and say, oh, he's in an industry setting, so he's learning a lot, he or she. And then I've been talking to a lot of companies that are out here now that work with German apprenticeships, like the format.
Yeah.
And they see a huge difference because German apprenticeships, you're programming that. Or if you want to be a maintenance guy, you're doing maintenance on that. And you're not waiting the year or two. I don't know if we have time for that, but I just want to throw that out there to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's super, super critical. It's actually like with Elite Automation, like one of our objectives is to be one of the largest companies in the world. And the reason for that is like to do more powerful things. It's, I think that there needs to be a gap bridged in like the education and workspace. So I think even apprenticeship, the name of that's going to change. I think you said, like, there's a complete difference between sweeping the floor and programming the machine, right? 100% difference. It's not a value add to the apprentice, right?
Yeah.
And there's individuals that are willing to accept $10 an hour less to actually program the machine, right? If that's what they're going to come into the job and do.
Yeah.
So a good example is this one guy had the option to work for Toyota and go through their Toyota program, or come work for the systems integrator company that I came from.
Nice.
And he chose a $10 pay cut to come work there because he knew he was going to get hands-on. He's going to be programming the robots directly, programming the robot from the ground floor with no code in it at all the way up to an operational unit. And that value is so huge. I actually got paid, on average, $5 an hour less than I could have been paid if I just went to another company. And I did that because I knew where I was at, I was gaining so much more experience. I knew I couldn't go to another company and have the freedom that I had. I was going from PLC to robot to HMI to vision, like doing project management. So I was having all these things under me. And I was at that point within like 3 years of my career, and so a lot of times people don't see that until year 5 or 7 and maximizing that knowledge.
And they'll still be at entry level too. That's the thing. Like, it's not even that after 5 or 7 years, you're moving up that ladder. Like you're still here.
Yeah.
And it's just because of that company's fear, I think, of, oh, they could break this or they could do this, or we don't have the time to train. I hate hearing we don't have the time to train. Let that person follow a tech lead and then have the tech lead tell the guy, hey, grab me this. Hey, grab me this. It may be not the progression that you want to see on the job, but it's still moving. It's not like it's dead in the water.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I think back in the day, you've seen a lot of that, like on the construction side of things. Hey, go grab my hammer, go grab my pliers, go grab the wrench.
I learned a lot from when I did do that stuff with my pops. You just learn what the tools are, or you learn the right tool for the job because he's asking for it. So it's not like it's invaluable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you hear like terminology in the real world. Like, what are you doing? I'm teaching a user frame. I'm zeroing the machine. Like, you know what I mean? So like, oh, what's that? And like you mentioned it too, like back when you were in school, you started asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge, huge thing. So like all those things definitely create a huge value in somebody's growth and education.
Nice. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. That's something I've been interested about lately because I'm doing a interview with a school at the Student Summit on Friday.
Nice.
They have their students actually graduating, like at the show.
That's awesome.
And it's they were one of the schools or one of the businesses that did the German apprenticeship thing.
Really?
So I've been learning more about it now, and I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Nice.
That is awesome. Yeah, so like one of the things I was kind of saying is, as a company, like I want to get us embedded into the school systems more. It'll probably start by doing like kind of like Toyota programs, but then at some point I want us to have like full-blown schools.
Yeah.
Kind of like the way like the Titan CNC is, like they should convert to being more like legalized colleges. Like how can they become a college?
I think dedicated tech centers are the future for companies. Either them building their own, or let's say I'm Fanuc and you have this designated tech center and I go to you for teaching my employees or our apprenticeships, our kids, whatever. Nobody has that around. You may have machines in your business, but not a lot of people have dedicated tech centers and that are open source too. So it's not just that you only do Fanuc.
Yeah.
You do Fanuc, ABB, KUKA, Universal, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So it's pretty sweet. It's a good idea.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and also too, like you said, like where it has all the different brands there. The issue is there's only a few companies that can do that. Systems integrators is one of them. Fanuc's never going to teach you scour programming. You know what I mean? Like, this is funny. I think it was Sean Tierney I was talking to. He has a lot of like, he runs a PLC education channel. Okay. And one thing we were talking about is like, he did primarily Allen Bradley for years, just Allen Bradley education. Well, now I started getting some Siemens stuff on and doing some other brands, and he's like, kind of said something along the lines of like, I don't want to upset them, like the other brands and whatnot. And you know, one discussion that we had is like, if I was Siemens, if I was Allen Bradley, I would purchase your channel. I would pay you double what you're already making, purchase what you're doing. And if I was Allen Bradley, I would still let you teach Siemens. You're like, what? Like, why would you do that? But the thing is because you're going to create a channel of people coming into your platform, right? And if you have your branding as your Allen Bradley, even though you're teaching like a Siemens platform, I still think that channel, that education channel, is more powerful than worrying about destroying your own reputation, your brand. And on top of that, you're in control of the words that are being said. So like, if you want to say, hey, like, do the Siemens videos, but don't hype them up too much. You know what I mean? But whenever you do an Allen Bradley one, hype them up. I got one last question. So what do you kind of see like kind of a career future? You talked a little bit about what you're doing on the creative side. Do you have any idea of
I won't say a certain thing. My dream, if I had a magic wand, my dream career would be to have my own team, and we are traveling the world for whatever company we work for, and we are implementing educational strategies, whether it's our company's products or our company's services. I want to travel with a team and produce digital content. I want to work with customers. I want to work with people. I want to be on that front line, and I want to have a team that I can lead to just doing something that the industry's never seen before. That as long as I'm on a path where I see myself doing something that has never been done, I know I'm going to be happy. So that's my future for me, is looking for that next edge and eventually becoming hopefully a leader for our industry.
That's awesome. Yeah. I like it. That's a great goal. Okay, so if there was one thing that you could give the people coming into the industry, maybe we'll do two-part, right? People coming into the industry, how can they position themselves? And also, like maybe somebody who's already in the industry, maybe making a shift or trying to grow in their career.
I don't have the technical. I don't know what to call it. Basically, this is the advice I would give, I guess, on a mental health standpoint, is when I was looking to make a change, because I've moved from California to Michigan. Left all my family back there. Even when I moved to Texas, I knew 0 people when I moved to Michigan. And the reason I did that is because I knew that people would understand that if you want to make a change in your career, if you want to make a change in your life, and if you're ready to take that step, you need to do it. And I know up here it's freaky, and I know that voice that you have is telling you, don't do this because of this person, don't do this because this may happen. And it's going to be hard for you to realize this when I say it, but if you get past that, it will pay off. Nothing that I've done in my experience for the past 3 or 4 years of my professional career has made me regret it. But I have spent a lot of times in that space where you're just in your head. And I just want you to know you don't have to stay there. If you're ready to make a change, you can go out and get after it. And so that's all I got to say on that.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Thank you, Jacob. I appreciated having you.
Yes, thanks, man.
I think,
this is episode 1, right?
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Let's
Jacob
go.
Sanchez, Malachi, we're here. IMTS 2022.
Let's go.